Winner and all the members of the foundation, we salute you. I want to thank Mayor Michael White for his genuine understanding help, and support. Without him, we would not be here today. I want to acknowledge Peter Aaron, who brought the construction in on time and on budget. Dennis Barry, who came just in time to put everything together so that the museum actually opens today. And Clevelander Jim Henke, who assembled the most important and stunning rock and roll collection in the world. We thank you. From the beginning of the idea of the foundation and the museum, three ladies were especially supportive to myself and Jan and our small group. My right arm for many years, foundation board member, and she is everybody's pal, Noreen Woods. My friend, supporter of Jan and myself and the foundation since the beginning, Jane Wenner. And my wife, Mika, who was a great help to us when we first met to discuss the idea of this museum with I.M. and Eileen Pay. And lastly, my late brother Nesui, whose children are here today, Layla and Rustam, who encouraged me and inspired me to start this foundation. I want to thank you all, and I especially like to thank and salute all the inductees and artists who are here today. They're the ones who made the music that we're celebrating here. As a matter of fact, I would like to ask the artists and the inductees who are here today, please to stand up. Thank you. I hope you love this museum as much as I do.
The project we are dedicating today is truly a product of the working partnership between you, citizens of this city and state, along with the corporate community. All levels of government, everyone involved. And one of the people who provided this leadership was the mayor of the city that rock and roll now calls home. Please welcome the Honorable Michael R. White.
A boy born in hot time, Mississippi, surrounded by for one that ain't no.
We did it. We did it. We did it. Tell the world, we did it. I have always been proud to go anywhere in this city, anywhere in this state, anywhere in this country, and anywhere in this whole wide world, and hold my head up and say, yes, I'm from Cleveland, and I'm damn proud. But I'm so happy today, not just that we have a home, for the great people who made rock and roll what it is and will continue to make it a great art form in the future. I'm happy today not just that we have a great partnership with our friends from New York who have worked with us for the last 10 years to make this a reality. I'm happy today not just because we have one of the greatest buildings designed by one of the greatest architects anywhere in the world. I'm happy today that this opening is an opening for every citizen of our city from 8 to 80, from every part of the city of Cleveland. This is their museum, and God bless them all. First, as a citizen of our city, I remember all the days and all of the times and all of the jokes and all of the words. I remember all the people saying, I just don't know about Cleveland. I'm just not sure they're going to make it. I'm just not sure that they have what it takes. Well, today, we're telling the whole world that we've got what it takes, and we're doing it. We ought to be proud of what we've accomplished today, but we ought to be proud of what we've accomplished over the last 10 years. But we ought to also tell everybody who will listen, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. There are so many people here today who I want to personally thank for their hard work. I've already thanked the most important group, and they are the men and women, the young boys and young girls, the grandmothers and the grandfathers and the aunts and uncles who call themselves Clevelanders. But I also want to thank my partner in the state government, Governor George V. Voinovich, and former Governor Richard Celeste. I also want to thank one of the unsung heroes of this museum, a man who stepped in a few years ago and had an unbiding determination to bring us to this conclusion. That gentleman deserves a resounding round of applause for his hard work and his stick-to-itness, Mr. Bill Hewlett. To Congressman Stokes, former Congressman Mary Rose Ocar, two of the greatest Congress people that have ever walked the halls of the Congress of the United States, we say thank you. To all of the political leaders in the Ohio Senate and the Ohio House, and especially to the men and women of the Cleveland City Council who I work with on a day in and day out basis, we say thank you. To the sponsors, to the fundraisers, to the builders, to everyone, we say thank you for bringing us this far. As I close, let me say to each and every one of you, my fellow citizens, we have so much to be proud of, but yet so much to do. But whatever we have to do can wait until Tuesday morning. Because from now until Tuesday morning, we are going to party. Thank you.
Now you know why we love them. You know, Ohio was first in light, first in flight, and now we're first in rock. The man who received the Hall of Fame baton from former Governor Richard Celeste has brought the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum across the finish line. Please welcome the Governor of the state of Ohio and former Mayor of Cleveland, the Honorable George V. Voinovich.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to express my appreciation to Ahmet Erdogan for his very kind words about my leadership in this project. And Ahmet, I want you to know that I accept that tribute on behalf of my partners in the public and private sector who worked with me since the time that we announced that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum was coming to Cleveland on May 6, 1986. That's 9 months, or 9 years, and 4 months ago. And I want everyone here today to acknowledge that public-private partnership that made all of this happen. I'm very proud of you. If there's anyone here who thinks that dreams don't come true, this ceremony is living proof that they do. As Huey Lewis has sung, the heart of rock and roll is beaten in Cleveland. I've been very close to this project since the dream was first conceived 10 years ago. And I haven't worked on any harder on any construction project during my 28 years in public service. My goal today is to thank the people most responsible for making this dream come true, for Cleveland, Northeastern Ohio, the rock and roll industry, and the inductees who wondered if it would ever happen. First and foremost, I want to thank the fans of rock and roll, and particularly the rock fans of the city of Cleveland and this region. Yes, sir. 650,000 signatures on petitions that we laid on Ahmet Erdogan's desk in New York when we said Cleveland wants to be the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And those 110,000 people who wrote or called USA Today, and the 40,000 of you that bought founding memberships to this. And more than anyone else, we dedicate this museum to those great fans of rock and roll who showed the world that they wanted the facility right here in Cleveland. As Jan Winter said, it's art, and like all art, it evolves, and the older art gets, put it in a museum. And that's just what we've done. It's also appropriate to recognize the artist to whom this museum pays tribute. And I.M. Pei's design, and I've got to tell you, when I first saw it, I really couldn't figure it out. But now that it's up there, Ian, it clearly has captured the passion and power of their art form, those artists, in the design of this magnificent building. And Peter Arndt, I want to thank you. This building came in on time and on budget. Did you hear it? On time and on budget. We first set foot on the long and winding road that led us to this moment in the spring of '85, when Mike Bentz, who was then with the Greater Cleveland Growth Association, and a group of businessmen came to the mayor's office and asked for my support in securing Cleveland as the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. Mike had to explain to me that polka music wasn't considered rock and roll, and that Frankie Yankovic and Frankie Valli made different kinds of music. We worked diligently with Norm Knight, who was on the board of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation, and Norm convinced Ahmet Erdogan that all we were saying is give Cleveland a chance. And even though New York was then the planned site for the museum, Norm wouldn't take no for an answer. And ultimately, as Ahmet explained, the board took proposals from cities all over the country. I remember our first formal presentation in New York, and I'm grateful for the business leaders who joined us that day: Dale Finley, George Miller, Carl Hirsch, Jules Belkin, Dick Kelso, and Bill Bryant. A number of other civic and business political leaders have contributed to the success of this project along the way: George Forbes, Mary Rose Okar, Lou Stokes, Governor Dick Celeste, who, even though we were of different political parties, partnered up with us in Cleveland and put the state right behind this project. And I think we ought to acknowledge the former governor of the state of Ohio, Dick Celeste. And Pat Sweeney. Pat Sweeney is the leading rock and roller in the Ohio House of Representatives, and he was with us all the time. In fact, at the end of those induction ceremonies, he was up on the stage dancing with them, and I asked my wife, Janet, who are those people up there with Pat Sweeney? Mayor Michael White, who has been my partner here in this city, that has indeed carried the baton and brought these projects to a conclusion. Michael, I really appreciate your partnership. You're a great, great mayor of the city of Cleveland. And our county commissioners, Boyle, Hagan, Brown, and Petro, who stuck with us and responded when we asked them for their help. Bob Horton, who is the former chairman and CEO of BP America, that stepped in at a time when we really needed him. Al Ratner, Bob Broadbent, Bill Hewlett, Dick Pogue, Milt Moss, Rena Bloomberg, Tim LaRose, and so many others. I'd like to acknowledge the former directors of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Chris Johnson, Larry Thompson, and of course, Mike Bentz. And especially, I want to thank the current director, Dennis Berry, who brought this project to completion. And Dennis, with your leadership skills and museum background, and with your great team, and you put together a great team, I'm certain this facility will flourish. I want you to know, Dennis, that I've enjoyed being your partner, and I will continue to be your partner. And I also want to thank the Board of Trustees in New York, Susan Evans, Jan Winter, Ahmed Erdogan. Told Ahmed earlier today that we kept our word and he kept his word. I'll never forget that cold January day in 1986 when I made a special trip to New York and sat with Ahmed Erdogan and guaranteed him on my honor that if Cleveland was chosen, we would build the museum. I also want to recognize Seymour Stein, the chairman of the foundation. Seymour was gracious to bring to the topping off ceremony Jerry Lee Lewis. And Seymour, goodness gracious, we love him in Cleveland. And we would remiss if we didn't also thank the taxpayers of Ohio for their contribution to this project. You bet. You bet. The local and state tax dollars which joined forces with the private sector contributed to one of the greatest examples of born in the USA public-private partnership. And I also want to thank my children, George, Peter, and particularly Betsy, who knows about everything you want to know about rock and roll music. They helped convince me that this would be a great asset for the city of Cleveland. And I'd like my children to stand up and be recognized today along with my wife Janet, because I'm telling you, they influenced their dad to get involved with this project. It benefits the community and states in many ways, and I want to just slowly read off the benefits to this community so we really fully appreciate what this is about. Jobs, 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 jobs for wonderful trades, workers' jobs in the convention and tourism industry, entry-level jobs for people who really need them. That's what it's about. The frosting on the cake for establishing a vibrant convention and tourism business in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. A window that will open the world to the wonderful attributes of Cleveland, Ohio, and Northeast Ohio. We've taken the lid off the top. The world now knows about what we have here right in Cleveland, Ohio, Northeastern Ohio. Attraction that will give Cleveland and Northeast Ohio the international dimension it will need to be competitive in the global marketplace. We're preparing Cleveland and this region for the next century. A jewel that will join Ohio's cultural crown, and a wonderful educational institution that will help give connectivity to American history as seen through the development of rock and roll music. And one more spectacular example that a Cleveland comeback continues. We're off the rocks and we're on a roll because of the public-private partnership and our Together We Can Do It spirit. But more than anything else, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a lasting tribute to the fans and performers of one of the 20th century's most endearing, exuberant art forms, rock and roll. We knew a long time ago that rock and roll was here to stay. From this day forward, it will always have a place to call home. Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you.
And you are watching live coverage of the grand opening ceremonies for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, listening to some Rock Hall officials, and of course a very proud governor and mayor, and rightfully so, Corey.
They have been very instrumental in making this day happen. We are going to take a quick break here and then return to the festivities and grand opening ceremonies of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum in downtown Cleveland. Don't go away.
Take a look at the lowest prices of the year on all Fords, Chryslers, and Plymouths at Cleveland's 95 model closeout sale. Factory rebates and incentives, low monthly lease rates, and huge Cleveland discounts. It all adds up to the best bottom line deal on the car, truck, or van you've been looking for. Take your pick from Cleveland's huge selection, all clearly tagged during Cleveland's 95 model closeout sale. Now through Labor Day at Cleveland, Ford, Chrysler, Plymouth, Route 59 in Kent.
Why compromise on a laxative? Part of you wants a strong one you know works. Part of you wants a gentle one for comfort. Don't compromise. Get both with Dulcolax. It combines an effective overnight ingredient with a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. Doctors recommend Dulcolax more than X-Lax and Correctol combined. Don't compromise. Get strong. Get gentle. Get Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
Television coverage of the air show is sponsored by Hefty Bags.
Shockwave, a 7,000-pound truck equipped with 3 fire-breathing jet engines. Afterburners will shoot out a 30-foot column of flame, enable driver Les Shockley to reach a speed of 300 miles per hour in just 10 seconds. Catch the excitement of Shockwave, another part of Channel 3's broadcast of the Cleveland National Air Show this Saturday at 1 p.m.
There's the hard way to close a food bag. Or the hefty way with new Hefty One-Zip. Only Hefty One-Zip bags have the amazing One-Zip slider. Easy to close, first time, every time. So tight you can even zip and flip. New Hefty One-Zip. There's the hard way. Or the hefty way.
Mystery man came over and he said, I'm out of sight. He said for a nominal service charge, I could reach Nirvana tonight. If I was ready, willing, and able to pay him his regular fee, he would drop all the rest.
Ribbon-cutting ceremonies began a little less than an hour ago, and we are coming up on the actual ribbon-cutting ceremony, which is scheduled to take place within the next few minutes or so. We've been listening to a lot of speakers who have played very instrumental parts in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mayor Michael White and Governor George Voinovich have just spoken, as well as several other people, and the ribbon-cutting ceremony is scheduled to take place in the next few minutes. We're also going to be hearing from Yoko Ono, who is going to be speaking in the next few minutes, as well as a former editor of Rolling Stone magazine. There are thousands of people who have come to downtown Cleveland today. We just finished watching the parade about an hour ago. A lot of people wanting to be in the middle of all the excitement. This is the epicenter of excitement for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in downtown Cleveland.
It sure is, Corey. And on the podium right now, we're gonna go over there. It's Bill Hewlett, who is the co-chairman of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and past president of Stouffer Hotels and Restaurants.
Gallagher, who really breathed the life into a building that you see in just a few hours. And very personally, I'd like to give my heartfelt thanks to the Cleveland board members especially like Albert Ratner and Dick Pogue, who stuck by me and provided me so much guidance and support during some of the darkest hours of this project. And most importantly, our grateful thanks to the inductees and artists who created and performed the music that inspired this whole thing. Someone asked me, Bill, are you going to say anything about the trials and tribulations that you experienced during this project? Well, I'm not. But I'm going to leave you with an old saying I'm very fond of, and that is, the world cares not the storms you've encountered, only did you bring in the ship. I'm going to ask the people seated behind me, the people who helped so much to bring in the ship to stand and take a bow. And you can acknowledge them. Thank you very much.
All celebration and pageantry aside, the reason we're really here is to honor the members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, to speak on behalf of all performers and artists everywhere is a woman who has continued a tradition of rock and roll with her generous contributions to charity and the arts and to the museum itself, both in priceless memorabilia and her time with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Yoko Ono.
Hello, Cleveland. And my love to you Clevelanders. Wow, woo! What have you done? What are you doing? You are changing the map of America. You are now changing the map of the world. You have done this by coming together, and I love you for it. As a member of rock and roll and rock and roll family and the community, I feel very proud and happy that we now finally have our own museum, a home. I think Joan would have loved this too. You would have loved the fact yes. You would have loved the fact that he's here and not anymore in my closet. Cleveland, thank you and congratulations. Pretty soon it'll be like my European friends will be saying, I'm coming to the States. Well, aren't you going to drop into New York? No, I'm going to take a shuttle to Cleveland. Your gift to the world shall inspire us for many centuries to come. And thank you very much.
The continuous evolution of music often reflects a changing society. One publication, however, recorded these changes with a clear voice for all generations, Rolling Stone magazine. Please welcome the editor and publisher of Rolling Stone and vice chairman of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum, Jan Wenner.
I'd like to acknowledge the support and love and help of my wife, Jane, and my sons, Alex, Theo, and Gus. Please stand up down there. Hail, hail, rock and roll. Deliver me from the days of old. Chuck Berry. The times, they're changing. Bob Dylan. What a long, strange trip it's been. The Grateful Dead. I'm here today because rock and roll changed my life. And we are here because we love rock and roll and the artists and those people in the rock and roll business who bring it to us. This building reflects the debt we owe to the music, and it provides a setting appropriate to its historical and social and artistic.
Let me show you just how much you could save by switching from gas to geothermal. More than $300 a year in an average-size home. It's the most efficient system available today. This should help you to remember. Call now. Geothermal installation costs less than ever.
Are you tired of having lenders dictate the terms of your loan? Well, call the Money Store. At the Money Store, you can help decide the terms for refinancing your mortgage or getting a home equity loan. Just call 1-800-LOAN-YES and tell them the amount you want to borrow and how much you can afford to pay each month. Then the Money Store will structure the loan to meet your needs. That's right. Now there's a lender that works with you and lets you help decide the terms of your loan. So call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES.
You like your car, but it may not look so great. Time for the better get Maaco guys.
Right now, Maaco value is better than ever. Get our great-looking Maaco Ambassador finish for one low price. Our best value, right now, only $189.
Maaco, America's smart choice.
In the battle to protect your children from violent crime, you have a weapon. 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Call now. Together, we will take a bite out of crime.
Indian Summer, Friday nights at 8 only on Channel 3.